Welcome back to the AC Sports Network podcast. I'm here with my co-host Alston Dove, and we have World Series, college football, NFL, trade deadline news, everything.
We've got
you
it
want.
all.
I hope we have it all. World Series last night. First time ever, I believe, all away teams have won every game. All first 6 games. The refs continue to.
The refs?
The refs. I'm thinking of football because usually they're bad in football either way.
Boy.
But the umpire made a horrible interference call. It possibly the worst World Series call ever. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I went to sleep.
So it's a swing bunt by Trey Turner basically, and pitcher Brad Peacock comes down, and it's like halfway in between the third base line and pitcher's mound, but like kind of towards home plate. It's hard to explain. And Peacock picks it up, throws it, and Turner's like, he steps left foot in grass, but then hits the middle. But then he hits middle of the base. But it was
glove?
But it was clearly not enough to tell that. But it was clearly not enough to.
Back away from your mic. There.
It was clearly not enough for interference, and it marked first World Series ejection since '96 from Bobby Cox. It was bad, but then Rendon came in and hit a homer, and the pitch after, and probably gave us the most emotional run around the bases I've ever seen by not saying a word or smiling or doing anything. And first,
he gave us all the emotions.
Second inning, first or second inning, I can't remember. Alex Bregman hits 2-run home run, runs down first base line, tries to hand off the bat to his first base coach.
First base coach doesn't know what's
going on, so he basically takes the bat to
He goes for the high five.
Goes for the high five. Bregman drops the bat basically, and it's like right past first base. So come later, I think top 5, top 4. Soto comes up, hits a mammoth shot, 420 to right center and maybe even farther, and 111 miles an hour, and takes the bat all the way down to first base, drops it off, bat drop at first base. Ooh, and then Bregman apologized after the game. I was like, you wouldn't be apologizing if you didn't lose.
Yeah.
He's apologizing. He's a loser.
If you won, you wouldn't have apologized.
I'm not a big fan of the Astros, honestly. I'm a Nationals guy.
You're a Nationals kind of guy.
Yeah.
Because you're from up north.
What? They're from Washington. NFL news. Week 8. Last week, we didn't have a ton of exciting games.
Well, the Dolphins-Steelers game started off exciting, and then
Dolphins jumped out to a 14-0 lead after a pick by Xavier Howard.
The Dolphins just did what the Dolphins do best, and that's just lose.
Yep, they continued not to score the rest of the game and lost because Dolphins.
They are scared of the end zone.
Mm-hmm. They're afraid to win.
Their defense is also afraid to make tackles.
And they trade a 5th and a receiver maybe or a corner to get another corner. I can't remember his name right now. It's bugging me though.
It be bugging you.
But they did trade a running back. They trade the running back Kenyon Drake to the Cardinals. So I guess that helps the Cardinals because David Johnson hasn't done much lately. And
I'm tired.
Another fantasy news: Odell's still done nothing. I sat him this week though, but I did play Latavius Murray with a nice 36 points, I believe. Money man.
Stephen A. Smith says he's not jumping off the Astros bandwagon yet.
Well,
he still thinks they have a chance.
Everybody's a chance.
I mean,
Game 7's best 2 words in sports. I'll tell you that. Game 7. Anything can happen. Game 7.
2 words in sports.
In any sport, in NHL, NBA, and MLB. Tonight, I think it's going to be Scherzer against Greinke. I think Granke goes like 4 or 5, and then they throw in their bullpen the rest of the game, or they might take Cole out. I guarantee. Actually, I think that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna throw Cole on short rest after Granke is done. Scherzer, and then it'll probably be Corbin on short rest, or Scherzer and then Sanchez.
Anibal Sanchez.
Anibal.
Thought it was Anibal.
And Justin Verlander with an 0-6 World Series record.
He's really not one for the World Series.
He's not one in the world. He's not one, and he's not one for the World Series.
Yes.
College football. We got any big games this week. LSU playing another ranked team.
Yes, as usual. LSU
Actually?
Alston.
Who they playing? Georgia. They won't play Georgia until when? Do they even play Georgia?
I don't think they play Georgia unless they played them in the SEC championship.
Really?
Which is-
I thought.
Which is very likely. It's because they have a good shot at beating Alabama. And if they beat Alabama, then it'll be Georgia and LSU in the SEC championship.
Isn't Florida in your? Isn't you got to play Florida first though, right? Georgia.
True that.
So it's gonna be Florida or Georgia.
They
It'll
are
be
number
Flo-
one in
it'll
the
be
nation.
Florida, Georgia, and LSU. Because LSU's
Or
beating
Alabama.
Alabama.
You think?
Yes.
I think it'll be
Yes.
good. Yeah.
LSU has played lots of ranked teams.
I think the
25
only
ranked
problem
teams this year,
with
and
LSU is they're playing on the road. Last year they
They-
didn't have as good of a team, and they played at home, and they kind of didn't score a point.
I think they've proved themselves this year. They've played multiple.
They've proved
ranked
themselves, but they're not playing at home.
Alabama
Which
has
sucks.
played absolutely nobody.
They're not playing in the off-brand Death Valley. I didn't mean to go there.
NCAA.
Clemson put it together this week against Boston College.
Georgia plays
Finally
Florida.
played to their strengths. More
Georgia-
51-13, I believe.
Georgia plays Florida this weekend.
Ooh, that's definitely the game day.
That's
Or no, this week is Memphis SMU's game day this week.
college game day.
Next week,
Cam
or the
Bayless.
week after.
San Jose State plays Boise State.
Oh, the week after.
Memphis-
Minnesota versus Penn State, 13 versus rank 8.
Memphis versus SMU.
Telling you, y'all don't sleep on my boys in Minnesota. The Gophers, I'm telling you, they fall.
Auburn, Ole Miss.
Auburn, Bo
Yeah.
Picks. I mean, Knicks. Sorry,
Sorry, got that.
just
one
throws too
mixed up.
many.
But no,
Actually, today, Joey
I think-
Gatewood, the backup, was a no-show at practice.
game of the week is going to be between SMU and Memphis and Florida and Georgia.
Well, it's game day. Game day's already in SMU, Memphis,
Oh, well,
because
then that's
those SEC teams always get game day. But the week after, I'm telling you, Minnesota, Penn State finna be far.
week 11. Penn State, Minnesota. Yes, they're both 8-0.
They're both good. So Minnesota's good. I don't know. We'll see if they're for real.
Number 1 LSU plays number 2 Alabama next weekend.
That's the thing. Like, PJ Fleck, the Minnesota head coach, was like, they should go to Minnesota because, like, they can go to LSU, Alabama, but practically every year because they're both usually pretty good. But, like, this never happens from Minnesota. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
they should go there just this week.
There's,
Even Kirk Herbstreit wants
there's
it.
only one other top 25 matchup in week 11, which is
Yeah.
Iowa and Wisconsin.
Nah, no one's going to that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
What's another one? We got the proposal for players being paid for their likeness and their
Well,
And their name.
that's going through in 2021.
2021 NCAA sports. Y'all are hyping it up too much. I'm telling you, it's gonna be like Madden.
Yep, it's literally going to be Madden, but college football.
Y'all forget EA is money hungry dudes. They change one thing in the game each year, and you buy the same carbon copy game.
Yep.
I fall for that mistake many times. See, 2K at
They
least 2K
just
tries to
update
change
the
it.
rosters.
They need to bring back MLB 2K.
Yes.
That game was fun.
They need to bring back MLB 2K. That would be. I used to play 2K12 all the time on the Xbox 360.
Let's look at the games we have this week for NFL. I think we've got some nice matchups.
We're going to look at rankings.
On Thursday night, on Halloween night. Ooh, spooky. We got the 49ers and the
Never
Cardinals.
again. Never do it
49ers
again.
led by Nick Bosa, the defensive player of the year. Rookie of the year, at least. 100%.
Joey Bosa's little brother, but
Mhm.
not so little brother. actually.
Texans and Jaguars. Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins versus a divisional opponent at
The
9:30 a.m.
Texans are really defense is really going to struggle without J.J. Watt.
I don't know. He's usually out half the year every year anyway.
This is a true statement.
He's literally. I feel bad for him. I think he should retire.
A
He's been hurt.
he's
He's
a
had surgery
walking
in like
injury.
700 different places.
Walking injury.
9:30 a.m. game in London. Texans Jags. Josh Allen on the defense for the Jags, and then the second leading rusher in the league behind Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette. That'll be a good matchup between the Texans and Jags. Hopkins versus Boye. Because Ramsey's gone. Jalen Ramsey wanted out. We got
Where did he go to?
the Rams. He played last week in Atlanta. He did decent.
That's right.
Julio kind of owned him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, who does Julio not
Redskins, Bills. I would say this is the toilet bowl, but the Bills are actually 5-2.
own?
So
The toilet bowl.
the Bills are actually 5-2. So they got smacked last week. They turned the ball over way too much. We got Titans, Panthers. Christian McCaffrey, MVP candidate against Titans who are decent. They've been playing decent. Vikings, Chiefs. Star-studded matchup on Sunday at 1 in Kansas
what?
City.
I just thought of something. Going back to college football, if Georgia plays like they did against Carolina and Kentucky,
They're going to get destroyed.
they're gonna get absolutely.
They're gonna get
destroyed by
manhandled.
Florida.
Well,
Destroyed.
they have a bye week.
No, we played this weekend.
Did they have one last week? I don't think they played last week.
No, they played Kentucky last week.
Last weekend. I swear.
Yeah, I
Like,
swear.
Last Saturday. I swear they didn't
Last
play.
Saturday,
I swear I didn't see anything about it.
you would be correct. They didn't have a.
Because I remember watching Kentucky like 2 weeks
They
ago.
played. That's right. They played Kentucky
Then they had a bye.
2 weekends ago. Then
Yeah,
they had
that's
a
what I
bye.
thought. Well, they got a week off. They had a week off to prepare for Florida. That means Florida probably had a week off too. Or did Florida?
Florida did in fact have a week off in week 9.
So
Both
they'll
teams had a week
they'll
off.
both be
so-
coming in healthy and strong.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Vikings, Chiefs. Vikings looking to increase their win streak to 5. Chiefs looking to bounce back after 2 straight losses at home. Actually, I'm not even sure if they've had 2 straight losses. Mahomes won't be back. Thank God. Thank God. I face Matt Moore, but knowing our defense, he'll probably be shredded anyway. Jets, Dolphins. That's the toilet bowl. That's the toilet bowl game of this week.
Yes.
Jets versus Dolphins. Sam Darnold versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. 0-7 versus 1-6.
Fitzmagic.
Bears, Eagles. That's a funky matchup.
Do you think the Dolphins will get their first win of the season?
No.
No, I don't either.
Bears, Eagles. Bears don't have a quarterback.
Well,
Eagles
if
take this
Sam
one.
Darnold keeps seeing ghosts, then they got a pretty good shot.
It's Halloween.
Halloween.
Bears, Eagles. Bears don't have a quarterback. Don't matter. Colts, Steelers. Colts have a really good O-line. They're not punching through that. Lions, Raiders. I'm taking the sleeper pick. The Raiders because they've been playing well as of late, and the Lions have not. Their defense has not been playing that well. Buccaneers, Seahawks because Seahawks are good, and they're at home, and they don't lose at home. Browns, Broncos. It's a good one. They're both like kind of bad.
Mediocre teams.
Yeah, perfect word for it. Browns are like
I think Browns are going to win that one.
the Browns are like I don't know. It's gonna be weird. Packers, Chargers. They're playing at home, but the Chargers' home is a soccer stadium that holds like 20,000 people, so
Well, the Chargers
It's not really a
don't
home.
even have
And the Packers are going to have like half the fans there anyway, so I don't even think it'll matter. Patriots or Ravens at 8:20 on Sunday night. Ooh, that would be a great game. Great Sunday night game. And then Monday, you always got to have Cowboys and Giants on Monday night because why not? That'll do it for this week's matchups in NFL.
How are we looking on time, Sasha?
You've been going for 15 minutes.
And that'll do it for the
I
AC.
think we're gonna
That'll do it
wrap
for
it up
the
here.
AC Sports Network podcast. We talked about NFL, college,